So what's up guys, I'm Black Ops Amazing, welcome back to another video on the channel where what we're going to do today is take a look at how the storyline in Black Ops 5 Zombies could begin. Going from the end of Cold War Zombies Forsaken to the start of what we're just going to call for now Black Ops 5 Zombies. Whether it ends up being called that, I don't know. It might be Cold War 2, Black Ops V, something totally different, but the Black Ops Cold War Zombie storyline was left on a cliffhanger, so from that we can only assume that the story will continue in Treyarch's next game in 2024. So using everything that we have, let's go ahead and see how the story could begin. Anyway, at the end of Cold War Zombies, a few things happened. The Forsaken ended up being contained, Samantha once again became trapped within the Dark Ether, Requiem was shut down and all of the agents that worked within it, Weaver, Grey, Strauss etc. were arrested. Edward Richtofen was revealed to be the director of Requiem, and Dr. Peck, who we thought died in the explosion along with Kravchenko, actually ended up surviving, and right at the end of Cold War's final cutscene, it reveals that 5 years after that event, Dr. Peck is still alive and he's looking for some old friends. That's a quick summary of just a few things that took place at the end of Cold War, but since we were told that the story will continue, this means that Treyarch's next game in 2024 will be a continuation of what took place after Cold War. But the interesting thing is, well, at the end of Cold War, the zombie outbreak came to an end. When Samantha plunged herself into the Forsaken, she sacrificed herself to save the world. All of the outbreak zones around the globe that the undead were using to escape from the Dark Ether collapsed, meaning no more zombies. So, of course, we can't have another Treyarch Zombies game without zombies, meaning somewhere along the line, some new event has to take place which allows the zombies to once again escape the Dark Ether. Unless Treyarch concocts some other way of them coming back, just how in the old story we had things such as Element 115 that would create the undead, maybe there'll be some new element or some other way the undead return. My guess would be when we see Peck in the final cutscene and he says he needs to travel to this location right here to see some old friends, wherever this place is he wants to go, whatever it is and whoever it is he wants to see, maybe it is that leads to another zombie outbreak. So there are so many questions we can ask and so many different routes that it could go down. So let's just explore every avenue. Firstly, what happened to Samantha? We saw her plunge herself into the Forsaken, but what next? Well, we know she became trapped once again in the Dark Ether. She's been trapped in there, I don't know, 4 or 5 different times now. She has been in here before, she's escaped, she became trapped again. This was part of the reason how earlier in the Cold War Zombie story she gained the powers that she does. We see her fly about, she shoots what looks to be Ethereum from her hands, she screams, things around her explode. Samantha has powers, and it's from her spending time in the Dark Ether previously, how she gained these, becoming corrupted by it. So maybe being trapped in the Dark Ether for an even longer time now. If she does end up escaping again, she'll have even more powers, but the question is, will she? I'm assuming so. Samantha is such a big part of our zombie story, which kind of tied into my next question. Who will we be playing as? Because Requiem was disabandoned. There's no more Weaver, Strauss, Grey, Carver, etc., giving the characters that we play as orders. Requiem doesn't exist, so who will we be playing as in the next game? One thing that we all want to return back to zombies are set casts of characters, instead of us being able to choose who we want to play as, which sounds weird because usually in games, players like that choice, but I think in zombies, set casts of characters given to us by the developers makes much more sense, especially for the story. If you think of Primus, Ultimus, the Transit characters, the Shadows of Evil cast, the Call of the Dead cast, the Mob of the Dead cast, we've had some amazing characters. I really want to see that return to zombies, so I want to see us play as a set cast instead of just random playables that we had in Cold War or Vanguard. I don't know who that would be, who we'd play as, but 4 people I do think would make for a good group of playable characters are Richtofen, Samantha, Weaver, and Peck. Now, as I've just explained, Samantha is trapped within the Dark Ether currently. Richtofen, we know, is the director of Requiem. Weaver ended up being imprisoned and actually possibly dies, and Peck, well, we know he's still alive, we see him in the final cutscene. So something would have to happen to bring all 4 of these characters together, but in my opinion, I think Richtofen, Samantha, Weaver and Peck, that would make for a pretty good set of characters to play as. To be fair, if we had Richtofen, Samantha and then, I don't know, 2 other new characters, I'd love that as well, but I'd just love to play as Richtofen once again, and Samantha's been a character in the zombie story since the very beginning. We've never really played as her, besides from Moon in a way, when Richtofen and Samantha switch bodies on that map, but personally I'd love at least Richtofen and Samantha to be 2 of the 4 playable characters we play as in the next game. And talking about that, as I mentioned, we see that Peck is still alive, but in the map Forsaken, there is an explosion that happens that involved both Peck and Kravchenko that left us wondering if both of these characters are dead.
New orders from the director. If we can't kill this thing, we should try to capture it using the containment chamber Omega built. The director will handle it from there.
You think I will just let you take what is rightfully mine? The Forsaken is destined to bring about Soviet supremacy, ending your capitalist reign. What's going on? What are you doing?
Colonel, they're breaking through!
You idiot! Watch where you're shooting! The gas line!
And thus ended the tale of Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
Now, if Peck survived, perhaps Kravchenko did as well, and I'm assuming that's the case. He's out there somewhere, but if you played through the Forsaken Easter egg, well, Peck kind of takes a turn. He goes from being the bad guy working for Omega, where he starts to help Requiem. Kravchenko noticed this. He pretty much said to Peck, "You're finished. Wait until everybody hears about this. You're dead."
You know, that crystal can be used to power your neutralizer.
What are you doing, you insolent ingrate? How dare you help our enemy?
Now, you just need to destroy that crystal.
No, I wonder, Dr. Peck.
Is this a genuine act of remorse? Or are you trying to weasel your way in with the winning side? That should do it.
But Peck helps Team Requiem. Why? Perhaps for his own agenda, because he can see that Requiem are winning, he just wants to be on the winning side, or maybe he has a change of heart. So is he good now? Is he still bad? Another character who was the Forsaken ends up being contained inside of this ball. We then see he gets lifted up by a helicopter and transported to somewhere. We have no idea where. He was still alive at this point, just trapped. A lot of the speculation was that he was dumped into the ocean, and that's the reason why Peck wanted to go to this location on the map. The Forsaken was buried here inside of that device and wants to maybe free him or harness his powers. But Peck does say he's going to see some old friends. I suppose one of those old friends could be the Forsaken, but it could also be someone from Omega, someone from Requiem, some brand new characters we haven't heard of. We really don't know, that's just speculation. So the Forsaken is still contained. Was he dropped in the ocean? Was he taken somewhere else? Right now it would just be a guess. The other big question is, well, did Team Requiem, being Weaver, Grey, Carver and Strauss, actually survive? Because as a part of Forsaken's Easter egg, the Forsaken gives us a conundrum. He says, look, you're doomed either way. If you kill me, then something bad is going to happen to you, or if you don't kill me, then I'm going to kill you. But he says to our characters, let me just show you what's going to happen if you defeat me, and this is what we saw.
You are so eager to stop me. Would you like to see how that story ends? Gaze upon the future that awaits you, should you defeat me.
Leave them alone!
In front of us, we see on the wall it says, no one escapes alive, and Carver, Grey, Strauss and Weaver are dead in a prison cell. Now, we know once we defeat the Forsaken, Richtofen ends up imprisoning Team Requiem. All of these characters we see dead here on the floor were imprisoned by Richtofen, and from this vision we see, shown to us by the Forsaken, it's all of these characters dead within a prison cell. So what we then have to ask is, well, does this come true? The prison part's correct, but what we don't yet see is, are characters dead? Was the Forsaken lying about this, or will it happen? Has it happened? In the 5-year gap between Cold War and the next game, do Carver, Strauss, Grey and Weaver end up dying? Or maybe the Forsaken was lying, or somehow the characters end up changing this outcome. So there is the potential of these characters being dead. The next thing, well, what about Richtofen? What is he going to do? We know part of the reason why he wanted rid of Maxis and Requiem was so that he could continue with Project Janus. We never actually truly found out, just going off memory, what Project Janus was. We don't know the ins and outs of this, but for some reason he wanted these characters out of the way so he could continue with this. So we have no idea what Richtofen's plan is. We think he's good. I don't think he's evil like previous iterations of Richtofen that we've seen, Ultimus Richtofen, etc. But he clearly has his own agenda. He is, or to something. So the biggest thing that we have to go off is Peck, for some reason, wanting to travel to this location here on the map to see some old friends. The final Cold War map takes place in 1985. It says that this is 5 years later, meaning that the next game's story will be taking place at least in the year 1990, if not further on, depending on when the game does take place. But there were so many different things that took place in Cold War's ending that it's difficult to give a exact answer as to where the story might begin. We can guess, but there are a few different guesses that might or might not be accurate. Will Samantha escape the Dark Ether? Probably. What is Peck up to? Who is he going to see? What's going to happen to the Forsaken because he's still alive, just contained? Will the Forsaken's vision come to light where Weaver, Grey, Strauss and Carver end up being killed? What's going to cause the next zombie outbreak? And the big one, what is Richtofen up to? There's a lot. So there we go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, hopefully you've enjoyed the video today. If you have, drop a like rating. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest videos on the channel. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, goodbye.